Okay, let's unpack this. We are diving into, well, maybe the toughest question faith throws at us. Why does suffering happen? And maybe even harder, why do really bad things happen to the people Jesus loves?
It's a huge tension point, isn't it? You'd think if you're loved by God, you'd get like a free pass. But the Bible, especially our source today, this deep dive into John 11, the Lazarus story, it suggests something else entirely. The core idea here seems to be that God sometimes uh, orchestrates the darkness.
Orchestrates it.
Yeah, not despite his love, but actually to magnify his glory. It's
Yeah.
challenging.
So our mission today is to try and understand that orchestration. We start in Bethany, Lazarus, Martha, Mary. And the source points out something specific about Mary right away, that she's the one who later anoints Jesus' feet.
Mm-hmm.
Why mention that future thing now?
That's a crucial setup. It's like the text is saying, pay attention. What happens here with Lazarus, this whole experience of death, waiting, resurrection, that's the reason she performs that amazing act of worship later in John 12.
So the suffering leads to the worship.
It seems depthly connected. Yeah, it forms her understanding, her devotion.
Got it. And the message the sisters send to Jesus, it's striking. They don't say Lazarus is sick.
No, they say, Lord, he whom you love is ill.
He whom you love.
That phrasing, it makes it universal, doesn't it? It's
Yeah.
not just about Lazarus. It pulls you, the listener, in. We are all, in some way, the one Jesus loves, and we all face illness, loss.
And they're appealing based purely on that love.
Exactly. Their hope is in his affection for them.
So you'd expect Jesus to drop everything and run.
Right. That's the human response. But his actual reply just flips the whole thing on its head. He says, this illness does not lead to death, which sounds odd given what happens.
Yeah, because Lazarus does die.
But Jesus finishes the thought, it is for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it. He's immediately reframing, this isn't ultimately about sickness or even physical death. It's about revelation, the glory of God.
The suffering is a stage for glory.
That seems to be the idea, a necessary setup for something bigger he wants to show.
Okay, but then comes the really puzzling part. The text makes a point of saying, now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. It confirmed the love.
Explicitly.
And then it says when he heard the news, he stayed put for 2 more days. That feels wrong.
Yeah.
That's not what love looks like when someone's dying.
It creates that feeling of, well, abandonment, doesn't it? Or at least confusion. That silence, that delay when you're praying, when you're hurting. Maybe you felt that. The source suggests this delay is intentional suffering.
Intentional suffering, and that sounds harsh.
It does, but the idea is it allows the situation to move beyond any human solution. It lets the darkness get really, really deep past the point of ordinary hope.
Waiting until someone actually dies. I mean, even if the outcome is good eventually, that waiting seems almost cruel. How do we make sense of that?
Well, remember the goal.
Yeah.
Revealing glory that you can't see otherwise. The source uses this amazing analogy. Think about looking at the night sky.
Okay.
In the middle of a city, you see a few stars maybe, lots of light pollution, but go way out, somewhere pitch black.
Right, like the story with the elder and the girl going out into the total darkness.
Exactly. The elder is just scared, sees only darkness, danger. But the girl shows him her telescope and suddenly, boom, the Milky Way. This incredible swirl of light, structure, beauty.
Something you absolutely couldn't see with the city lights on.
Right. And the elder realizes the darkness wasn't the absence of beauty, it was the condition needed to see it. So this delay, this deepening darkness around Lazarus, it's the necessary condition for revealing the spectacular light of Christ's glory.
Okay, that reframes the wait. It's not just absence, it's preparation. Purposeful.
And we also can't forget the real danger involved. The disciples pipe up immediately.
Yeah, they say, Rabbi, didn't the Jews just try to stone you in Judea? You want to go back there?
It wasn't just a scheduling conflict keeping Jesus away. It was a legitimate threat to his life.
And Jesus answers with that analogy about the 12 hours in the day.
Yeah.
Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble.
Yeah, he's basically saying, my life operates on God's timetable, not human threats. His time, the daylight hours of his mission, is set. Nothing can cut it short before the Father's appointed moment. He's operating by divine time, not fear.
He controls the timing, therefore he controls the revelation.
Precisely. So finally they set out. And Jesus starts by saying, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep. I go to awaken him.
Using that euphemism, fallen asleep. Why be gentle now if he's about to do something huge?
It's really profound, I think. First, it takes the sting out of death for the disciples, makes it seem temporary, like waking from a nap. but it also subtly points to his own power. For the Creator, resurrection isn't some monumental effort. It's as simple as waking someone up.
But they don't get it. They think, oh, good, if he's sleeping, he'll get better.
Right. Classic disciple misunderstanding. So Jesus has to switch gears. He tells them plainly, Lazarus has died. Okay, metaphors are over. Time for the stark reality.
And right after that comes this line that just stops you in your tracks. He says, and for your sake, I am glad that I was not there. Glad. Glad he wasn't there when his friend was dying.
So that you may believe. That's the key part. He's glad for the outcome of his absence. The deeper darkness allowed for a more powerful revelation, and that bigger revelation leads to a stronger, more tested, more convicted faith for them.
So the pain serves as the belief.
The source definitely suggests that. Often it's in those valleys, those dark places, that we see God's grace and glory in ways we just couldn't on the comfortable mountaintops.
And the disciples seem to get the danger now, but also the potential significance. Thomas speaks up.
Yeah, Thomas, the twin. He says, let us also go, that we may die with him.
Wow. So he sees the glory as worth potentially dying for alongside Jesus.
They've finally grasped that whatever Jesus is planning, it's worth the risk. It shifts the focus from fear to purpose, and that purpose brings us right to the moment they arrive. The timing is critical.
4 days. Lazarus has been in the tomb for 4 days. Why is that number? 4, so significant.
Okay, this is where a little cultural context really helps. In Jewish tradition at the time, there was this belief, maybe belief is too strong, but a notion
Okay.
that the soul, the spirit, kind of hovered near the body for about 3 days after death. There's still a sort of lingering connection, a faint possibility perhaps of revival.
So up to day 3, maybe it's not completely final.
Maybe not absolutely, irrevocably final in the popular imagination, but by day 4, that was different. Day 4 meant decay had set in. Decomposition was happening. The body was corrupting.
So medically, biologically, it's over.
Yeah.
And spiritually, too.
Yes. Day 4 signified definitive, irreversible death. All hope, according to human understanding and even folk belief, was gone.
So Jesus deliberately waits until the moment of absolute impossibility.
Exactly. He arrives when no one can argue it was just a resuscitation or a coma or anything else. He waits until the only explanation left is divine power. True resurrection from corruption.
And the source makes a connection, or rather a contrast, between this and Jesus' own resurrection, right? Using the timing.
Yes, it's a really insightful point. Lazarus is raised on the 4th day after corruption began, but Jesus is raised on the 3rd day. Why? It fulfills Psalm 16.10. You will not abandon my soul to Sheol or let your Holy One see corruption.
So Jesus' resurrection happens before decay sets in.
Right, showing it's a fundamentally different and greater event. Lazarus' raising is an incredible sign pointing to Jesus, but Jesus' own resurrection is the ultimate victory over death and decay itself. It underscores the uniqueness of Christ.
Okay, so Jesus finally arrives, and we see the sisters react very differently.
Yeah, Martha, who's always portrayed as more practical, active, she hears Jesus is coming and immediately runs out to meet him on the road.
Leaves the mourners, leaves the house.
Action. Action, but Mary, she stays put, sat in the house, presumably deep in grief, maybe feeling paralyzed by it.
Different personalities, different ways of grieving.
Totally. Yet, when each of them finally speaks to Jesus, they say the exact same thing, word for word.
Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died.
That sentence, it just hangs there, doesn't it? It's the heart of their misunderstanding. It's basically saying, your presence should prevent suffering. If you really loved us, this wouldn't have happened.
It's a statement of faith in his power, but also a kind of accusation, almost.
Or at least a deep questioning of his love or his timing. And Martha follows it up by stating her belief, but it's abstract.
She says, I know he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day.
Right. She believes in the general future resurrection. It's orthodox, but it's distant. It doesn't help her now. And Jesus gently corrects her, pulling it from the future right into the present moment. He gives one of his most powerful I am statements.
I am the resurrection and the life.
Not I will give resurrection, but I am it, right here, right now, standing in front of you in your grief.
That changes everything. It's not just a doctrine, it's his identity.
Exactly. He is the life that conquers death. The source really emphasizes this. The death had to happen for him to reveal himself as a resurrection in such a potent way. The darkness was necessary to see this light.
Which leads us to that incredibly emotional moment.
No.
Jesus wept. He sees Mary weeping, the Jews with her weeping. And the text says he was deeply moved in his spirit and greatly troubled. We usually read that as pure empathy, right? seeing his humanity.
And surely empathy is part of it. He loved them. He felt their pain. But the source we're exploring suggests there's maybe a deeper layer to his trouble. It wasn't just sadness with them.
What else then?
It might have been frustration or maybe profound sadness at their misunderstanding. They were weeping as if death had the final word, as if all hope was gone, as if the resurrection and the life himself was just some guy who showed up too late.
So he was troubled by their lack of faith, even in their grief,
Hmm.
weeping for their limited view.
Perhaps, if they truly grasped who he was, that life incarnate was standing right there, their tears might have turned to, well, maybe not instant joy, but certainly expectant hope, conviction, that failure to see the imminent glory, to recognize his identity even in tragedy. That might be what deeply troubled his spirit.
That adds a whole different dimension to Jesus wept. He wept because they couldn't yet see the glory he was about to reveal.
And that inability to see continues right up to the tomb itself. Jesus says, "Take away the stone." And Martha, ever practical Martha, jumps in with the final physical proof of hopelessness.
Lord, by this time there will be an odor, for he has been dead 4 days.
She's basically saying, no, don't. It's too late. It's grim. It's decomposed. She confirms the absolute finality, the impossibility from a human perspective.
And Jesus brings her right back to the core point, gently but firmly.
Did I not tell you that if you believed you would see the glory of God? It's a reminder. The whole point of this painful delay, this deep darkness, was for this moment of belief and glory.
They roll the stone away, and Jesus prays out loud.
Yeah, and he even explains why he's praying aloud. It's not for God's benefit. He clarifies the Father always hears them. He says it's on account of the people standing around, that they may believe that you sent me.
So the prayer itself is part of the sign,
Yeah.
demonstrating his unity with the Father.
Exactly. Showing their perfect connection, their shared divine nature. It's a public declaration for the sake of their belief.
And then the climax. No complicated ritual, no magic words, really.
Just pure commanding authority. He cries out with a loud voice.
Lazarus, come out.
And the power in that command. The source draws a direct line back to Genesis 1. God spoke and creation happened. Jesus speaks and resurrection happens. The word itself carries the power of life.
And Lazarus comes out, still wrapped in the burial cloths.
The dead man walks out, bound. And Jesus gives one final command, this time to the community. Unbind him and let him go. He provides the life, but he invites them to participate in restoring Lazarus to freedom and community.
Wow, okay. So bringing it all back, what does this mean for us? We started with that question. Why do bad things happen to people Jesus loves?
And this story suggests, well, it's complex, but fundamentally the resurrection required the death. Jesus allowed, maybe even orchestrated, this period of intense darkness and grief, not because he stopped loving them, but precisely because he loved them and wanted to reveal something profound.
To show his power over death itself, leading to a stronger faith.
A stronger faith, a deeper love, a clearer vision of who he truly is, the resurrection and the life. The source argues that sometimes, maybe often, suffering is the necessary condition, that pitch-black night sky that allows you to see the brilliant glory and grace of God in a way you simply can't when everything's comfortable and well-lit.
So if you're in a valley right now, feeling that darkness,
According to this deep dive into John 11, it might be because Jesus loves you profoundly and wants to show himself to you, to reveal his life-giving power in a way that's only possible in that valley.
the challenge then, for you listening, isn't just to endure the darkness, but maybe to shift perspective, to move away from just saying, Lord, if you had been here, and instead start actively looking, asking, okay, Lord, what glory, what revelation of yourself as the resurrection and the life are you preparing to show me right here in this darkness? So here's the final thought to chew on. If Jesus was deeply troubled, maybe even wept because of their misunderstanding, how might your understanding of who he is, the resurrection and the life, present tense change how you view your current struggles?
Are you seeing the darkness primarily as evidence of his absence or a lack of love? Or could you begin to see it as the carefully prepared stage, the necessary condition for an imminent and glorious revelation of his life-giving power for you?